Hello and welcome to the 18th episode of the 86 podcast, hosted by Brandon, aka Swag Rabbit, myself, Nate, from Flat Crank Autocross. Today, Toyota has some interesting ideas, both about parts standardization and a CVT that might not completely suck. Meanwhile, Subaru does something kind of boring, and HSR manufacturer does something definitely exciting. First, highway speed limits are set to go up in one state with some mild caveats. So, lead story, Missouri. Governor signed a bill to raise the rural interstate speed limit. So this is only going to apply on divided highways with at least 2 lanes in each direction. I think also it has to be outside of cities, but it's going to raise the speed limit to 75, which honestly is where, ideally the interstate wouldn't have a speed limit, but our drivers in this country are too crap for that. So 75 is a good kind of happy medium now.
Well, we've hit a point where most cars that aren't just base model shit boxes can just stay at 80 and never spin. Like, let's be real.
And also do so relatively efficiently. Like I generally sit at around 75 going to autocross events, and usually around 65 to 70 going back. Like I go a little bit quicker going there so I can get there earlier and have more time to set up, but like coming back, I don't care. I just want to cruise. And I found that my fuel economy both ways is, like, I don't know, maybe I lose a couple tenths of a mile per gallon, but it's no big difference.
I average about 25 miles a gallon, and I'm almost always doing 80, 85 everywhere.
This is where the taller gearing is actually an advantage. I, doing 75, nail about 35 miles a gallon, just cruising on the highway.
Yeah, the taller gearing sure does help, but man, do I have fun.
Yeah, that engine kind of bogs down when you strap a crappy set of gear. So currently the limit's 70. I know where I'm parking from and long to return to Washington State. Most highways, you'll sit around 70 miles an hour as your speed limit. And in Washington State, honestly, the first 10 are free. Like you'll be doing 80, the cop won't blink. I mean, the state, okay, city cops are assholes. The state patrol don't care. State patrol are chill.
Normal cops here in Texas don't care or don't really think about pulling you over too often until you're doing about 15 over.
Yeah.
And then they'll pull you over and give you a massive ticket. But until then, they don't give a shit.
Yeah. I see this as a win. I like that we have higher speed limits. I like that we're acknowledging the highways are for getting places. You just need to do shit like crack down on actually unsafe driving, staring at their fucking phones, and people hogging the left lane. And there you go.
Yeah, if the left lane was left free, like even in the picture at the top of this fucking article, you've got a big rig hanging out in the left lane right there. That's just obnoxious.
Yeah, that's absurd.
Yeah, big rig and then the truck in front of it. I mean, is the truck even passing anybody? Oh, it's not even going to play it. Never mind. I don't feel like watching through that ad, so it is what it is.
Yeah, fuck that. So, I don't have much more to say. I think this touches on car enthusiast circles a little bit. If you live in Missouri, now you can get away with pushing your fun little sports car a little bit faster on the highway, get to autocross events faster. But beyond that, like, kind of neat. I hope more states do this. I think I wouldn't go much higher than 75. I think 75 and then like the first 10 is a warning is probably fair enough, just because of the number of stupid people on the roads. If we didn't have so many stupid people on the roads, we could do it Autobahn style, but this is the world we live in. I think that's probably what it should be, and I applaud Governor Mike Kehoe, however you pronounce that, for his contribution to motoring enthusiasm.
Well, also, just like Missouri is one of those things where most of the people going into the state are going through the state. So, get them on their way faster and don't cause problems, and you'll have more people coming through your state.
I also imagine they're going to enjoy the extra gas tax revenue, though probably not that much. All right. Moving on from that, speaking of fun cars and potentially commutes, this article makes a very, very bold claim, and I'm interested to see if it ends up holding true. The claim is that Toyota has fixed the rubber banding problem in CVTs. I'm not sure. I think that's a strong statement.
We can hope, but I doubt.
So
I'm pressing X pretty hard right here.
Yeah. So this is going in the new Corolla hatchback, which looks very nice in my opinion. I love the look of that thing.
Look, those are very pretty cars, and it just makes me want Subaru to bring their hatchback WRX back even more.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. So they're calling it the Dynamic Shift CVT. It uses a physical gear with a fixed ratio for the initial pull away from a stop, and then it hands it off to the belt and pulley system in the CVT for everything else. So I don't think this really fixes, like they say. I don't think it really fixes the rubber banding, because part of the problem with the rubber banding and CVTs feeling mushy in general is the amount of time it takes to change ratios and how the ratios just kind of blend. In order for the car to feel snappier, really just need to make the CVT move faster, but that would wear more internally. It is going to make it feel better off the line. There's going to be less lag in getting it off the line, but I'm not sure you couldn't also accomplish this just by having an electronically driven clutch and just setting the CVT to that launch gear ratio and just clutch again, and that might feel better. I don't know. Or a wet clutch.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with this one. I think it's gonna fix the launch. It's not gonna fix much else. The CVT is still like not a sport car thing. And if they want to use it in their normal cars, fine. I don't plan on buying any of those, but don't put this shit in your sports cars.
And it's going in the base Corolla. I don't know. Does GR Corolla's got a proper transmission, doesn't it?
Didn't we have an article? Man, this was probably 7 weeks back, maybe 8. I was somewhere in there. We had an article about GR Corolla potentially putting a CVT in some of their stuff, right?
I can't recall. I don't track this because if I were to buy a GR Corolla, it would have the 6-speed in it. So
yeah, that's completely fair. Gazoo Racing models or GR Sport trim equipped with CVT. Corolla GR Sport, Yaris GR Sport and RS, and the RAV4 GR Sport.
Only the RAV4 makes sense on that list.
And it's some trims.
Yeah. What kind of concerns me as well is it comes with, the usual paddle shifters. You can select preset gears, but it says they offer 10 preset ratios.
You might as well just make it a 10-speed. Like, what are you doing?
Well, I'm not a fan of 10 speeds, if I'm honest.
Neither am I, but if it's going to have 10 preset ratios, just fucking drop the act and just make it a 10-speed.
A 10-speed makes sense in something like a supercar or hypercar, where you want something that's super torquey in the low end that can also stretch out to like 250 miles an hour. In anything other than that, it only makes sense if you're building a drag car. It makes the 10-speed in the Mustang makes enormous sense if you're drag racing the Mustang, and it makes that thing like fucking quick off the line, quicker than a lot of its contemporaries with the same power to weight ratio. But downside of that, and granted this is a thing specific to its fixed gear ratios, if you're trying to track it or anything else and you're putting it in drive, it flips through those gears like a Rolodex. Like, it sucks for that.
Has no idea what it needs to do, so it just fucking bogs really hard.
Yeah, it just keeps hunting for gears and keeps changing anytime you move your foot. Can obviously paddle shift it, but then you run into the problem that you'll run into with this, which is now you're hunting through gears. When I dig out of a corner, I don't want to be clicking that little negative paddle like 3-4 times to get in the gear ratio.
Yeah, and the thing about those cars is they're really, I guess you can, like you said, they're good for drag racing. But if you're doing any real racing in that car, you should be going with a 6-speed manual anyway.
6-speed manual, or if you're gonna get an automatic, and even aside from a DCT, although DCTs are getting remarkably cheap nowadays, there are some slush box automatics that, at least in their function, are actually pretty okay. But even then, at most, I would say an 8-speed, and even then, only if you're planning on brushing like 190. At least. Like, the ideal transmission, the ideal automatic, if I were to put an automatic in my car that it doesn't already have, it would be a 7-speed.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all the gears that car really needs. Past a certain point, or is less. So
it looks like the new Mustangs only come with a 6-speed manual or a 10-speed automatic,
which tracks.
Yeah.
So 10 preset ratios is kind of I've also wondered why. And I will confess that I'm a fan of CVTs on paper, in theory, theoretically, they have great potential. They just always fall short of it in practice. Which is why I'm not a fan of them in practice. But
do we know how much horsepower this thing has?
And
the top speed.
169 horsepower with 151 foot-pounds of torque.
Okay, yeah, no. The 10 speeds in that is just gonna fucking be abysmal.
Yeah, that's gonna be super short gearing. That's gonna be absurdly short. You're gonna be putting your foot down.
That could be a 5-speed car and be faster.
Yeah, you're gonna be going click, 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 just spamming that upshift all the time. It's probably not gonna be super pleasant. And if you've got a CVT and you've got endless gear ratios to choose from, and if you want different ones, you can just program different ones. Why wouldn't you have a sport mode for this?
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you have mode switching for the transmission? Like, oh, in my regular driving mode, I have a tall 5-speed, but I put it in track mode, and now I have a short 7 or 8-speed. Or I put it in drag mode, and then I've got my 10-speed. Like, you don't have to only have one set of gear ratios from the factory. You have a CVT. Use it to its full potential. Don't give me 10 fucking ratios in a Corolla.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. My 20-year-old car out in my driveway probably is faster than this thing.
Probably.
It's a 5-speed manual, dual overhead cam Honda.
Yeah.
With 200 fucking horsepower, and it'll probably outdrag this thing because, well, 10-speed ain't gonna know what to fucking do when you put your foot down. I don't understand. Like, if you want to put a CVT in a base model or something, fine. But like 167 horsepower and probably a 140 top speed does not need 10 gearing, like 10 gear ratios. It just doesn't. It's not even close.
For reference, that engine's about as powerful as the one in my 22-year-old Super.
Yeah.
Go figure. And I feel like if I had a 10-speed transmission, I mean, I despise the 4-speed that's in it. I really hate it. It's not enough gearing. It's just way too tall because you can't cover what it needs to cover in just 4 gears. But if it had a 10-speed in it, I probably would kill myself.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound fun.
2001 Prelude, 200 horsepower at 7,000 RPM, with 156 foot-pounds of torque at 5,200 RPM. So, that's going to act way better than that 10-speed with 168 horsepower. That's just, or 169 horsepower.
I think your Prelude's got about similar figures to your 8.6, actually.
200 power is the exact same. Yeah. Let me look. 2015 FRS.
Apologies for the coughing, by the way. Ontario's on fire, and they're blowing their shit over here, so I've got bullshit coming up in my lungs. Not
151. Okay, so yeah, 156 on the Prelude at 5,200 RPM, and then the FRS produces a maximum of 151 foot-pounds of torque at 6,400 RPM.
So the Prelude's a little torque.
Yes. Although it's front-wheel drive, so that torque steer can get kind of scary.
And also, I assume, heavier.
Yeah, so let's actually take a look at the weight now.
What, 3,200, I think?
So 2,800 pounds for the FRS, and then...
Really? I thought it was 26.
It's like 27, 28 for the 2015, and then 2,900 to 3,000 pounds for the Prelude.
That's lighter than I would have thought.
Yeah.
I do like the suspension on this thing, though. McPherson struts in the front and a multi-links in the rear. Reminds me of my Miata. So.
Look, they've done a good job building this car with just about everything except for that transmission.
Which is really the only problem with it. Everything else is fine.
That's what it's going to come down to. The transmission is going to suck.
It looks like a lot of fun. It looks like Toyota is finally making fun commuter cars again. Or really, the Japanese auto industry is going back to fun base model commuter cars, a la the classic Civics, the classic Corollas, the classic Imprezas. I mean, so I'm all in for it. Just, if you're going to buy this, and I recommend you buy this, it looks like a blast. For the love of all that is holy, learn how to use stick. It's probably, I mean, I get that it's got that cool launch gear, and I will admit it's an interesting innovation, but like, it's not even...
I want to see how it plays out, and it's the first iteration of it, which means it's going to have its own share of problems.
Yeah, I don't even think the we can say the transmission is, I mean, it's mediocre because it's CVT, and they're all mediocre, but I wouldn't say bad. It's the programming of the transmission that's really the problem. If you can get it retuned and somehow, like, I don't know, trick it into becoming like a 6 or 7 speed, sure. I mean, but really just buy the 6 speed.
I do want to lay this out as we are coming at this from enthusiast. If you're a normal person wanting a normal car that's kind of sporty and you buy the base model just buy it.
Yeah, just
nobody's gonna care, and we wish you all the luck, and we hope you have no problems with the car. We hope there's no major issues with the transmission. I doubt there will be. It is Toyota we're talking about, and not fucking a German brand. So their first generation might be a lot better than some BMW having a bunch of tech in it that's gonna break immediately. But from a purely, we love to drive the cars that we buy, and we love to drive them fast. You want the GR version of this car, and you want a fucking manual. And everybody that was like us knows it.
I also love the price. 26 grand, which is more than a car.
26 grand is a fantastic price for this car.
It's cheap for today, so I'll let it slide.
Yeah. I mean, if it started at 20, I mean, if prices were where they needed to be, this would be starting at 20.
Yeah.
But they are nowhere near where they need to be, so it is what it is.
Me actually
26, like, you put 10 grand down on it, and you have I think that leaves you with 17,000 to pay off. You have a really good interest rate on that and shit. I think that's a wonderful car to have.
Okay, so $26,000, 169 horsepower with 151 foot-pounds of torque, and it weighs a hair over 1.5 tons, which is not bad. I mean, it's not a sports car necessarily, but it's gonna have some pep to it.
This is going to be a fun and cool daily driver.
And I imagine it's going to be very fun to work on and tune up. I mean, this honestly is if I had like a 16-year-old and I was looking at buying them a fun starter car, I might look at this.
Yeah,
because it's a Toyota. It's going to have modding potential. I probably would buy them the 6-speed. A, because they need to learn how to drive stick, and B, because buy once, cry once. You know, I don't want to get someone a 10-speed and have them come back and go, I really shouldn't have had that transmission in that car. I regret it deeply. But yeah, if you're interested in enthusiasm, I mean, this is a great starter car. If you want to go autocrossing, it's probably pretty good for it, I'd say. It's got great expansion potential from this base. It's affordable. I mean, that's probably like $500-600 a month. That's what a car payment is nowadays for like a 36 or 48 month, what you should be getting.
If you're buying this as more than just a daily driver for your kid, teach them to drive manual though.
Yeah.
If they're going to start working on it, you do not want to start with a platform with 10 speeds.
Yeah. If you want a grocery getter, get whichever version of this you want. If you want to have fun with it, or you think you're going to want to have fun with it in the future, get the manual and learn to drive stick. I say this as someone who doesn't really drive stick very much. Learn to drive stick in this car.
You say it as somebody who doesn't drive stick nearly as much, just because quality of life driving a stick for you would be suck.
That is true.
Like, you're not coming at this from I just don't like driving stick. You're coming at this from if I drive stick on a daily basis, it's going to cause immense pain in my future.
That's true.
So it's a perfectly reasonable reason why you don't have sticks.
I don't even begrudge people for saying they prefer driving automatic.
Yeah. I don't either. I just think you're gonna have a lot more fun driving stick.
Yeah.
Unless you're one of those people that all they do is sit in traffic.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I don't begrudge people for driving what they want, having fun with what they want, even if they might have more fun doing something else. But at the same time, A, it's a CVT, and B, they put just way too many simulated speeds in that thing. The launch gear is neat, and I hope that they keep that. I hope that becomes a thing.
Okay, so it's the 27 Corolla. I'm gonna look up top speed real quick because I need to know now. 115 to 118 electronically governed. And
oh no.
What do you need fucking 10 gears in this fucking thing for?
What on God's green earth?
Yeah, no, we were actually kind of talking this thing up a little bit now. I take back everything I just said. This is fucking terrible.
115, 10 gears to get to 150. You are going to wear the fuck out of your paddles, because anytime you need to do anything, you're going to be clicking those fuckers multiple times. Like,
well, okay, so I've been playing a fair bit of Forza Horizon 6. I'm pretty sure you have too, but I haven't seen you all much. But so take a Lamborghini, like take one of the newer Lamborghinis with really short ratios in the bottom gears and go drag racing with it in manual mode. It's literally just you take off, you can't even you can't even swap the gear and then go to swap the gear again fast enough to keep up before you over rev those cars. That's pretty much exactly what's going to happen here. The GR and the Grumman models are electronically governed at 142. So the first thing those people are going to do is take off that limiter. Oh no. The hybrid models are electronically limited to 99. Oh baby.
The shortest gear ring on the planet.
Why is this needed to be a 5-speed simulated gear, bro? Why? 10-speed is not a thing for this car. That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. So this car is going to be useless until the second generation when they decide that 10 is too many.
I need to know what are the preset. I can't find it anywhere, but I'm gonna have to keep an eye on it. I'm very curious how tall that ends, well, not how tall, how short that ends up being, because that sounds like the shortest gearing in existence. If you have to cram 10 gears into 100 miles an hour, you are going to think about the gas. You're going to be sitting at a stoplight and just think about the gas pedal, and it's going to redline immediately.
Yes. Oh my god, that's terrible.
It's 10 neutrals with acceleration Corolla in between them.
Okay, hold up. I think I found it.
Okay.
Possibly. Yes. First gear ratio, 3.38. Second ratio, 2.24. Third ratio, 0.45.
Oh, no,
and then the rest of them are unlimited.
That's
automatic CVT with overdrive.
That's the weirdness in how they do the gearing. That's not the simulated gears. I don't know what snare they use for that. That's not the numbers we're looking for. But if first and second are in any way accurate, holy...
Final drive axle ratio 3.79.
Yeah, no shit. Could you imagine putting 511s on that thing? All the torque, none of the speed, and you are shifting twice a second.
Yep.
Oh, it's such a beam. I want to, you know what?
So this thing can't ever be put in manual mode. If you have paddle shifters, don't ever use them. You won't keep up.
So screw payday. What I'm going to do when this stream is over, I'm going to boot up Forza. I am going to buy a Corolla, buy the 10-speed sport transmission, and try and cram 10 gears into 100 miles an hour and see what that looks like and see how it drives. No, I'm going to do the hybrid, 100.
Oh, good.
Oh, okay. I thought it was going to top out 140, 150. 115?
Yeah.
That's nuts. That's fucking nuts.
Okay, I'm going to look at what I'm going to look and see if they fucking have a theoretical ungoverned. Aerodynamically limited to 115 to 130.
Okay.
Restricted by the factory to 115. Without this electronic governor, theoretical maximum speeds in this model is about 130, so that's probably where the red line's going to be, or top you out. And then factory tires also. And then factory limiter for the GRs is 143. You could probably theoretically hit 155 on a straightaway, ungoverned, on a long straightaway. 130 with 10 speeds ain't really that much better.
I mean, the launch gear is a 3.38, which is a little bit nutso in and of itself.
Dude, we went off the rails in this podcast.
Well, yeah, Toyota went off the rails designing this thing.
That is true. They designed everything beautifully, and then they went, you know what? We have this 10-speed sitting around. Let's put that in there.
Well, no, it was, we have this CVT. Let's give it 10 simulated gear ratios in manual mode. That way we can guarantee nobody will ever want to drive it in manual mode.
What is it in fucking automatic? Is it 10 also?
It's a CVT. It's whatever it feels like. Like when you put it in a drive, it's gonna pick whatever ratio it thinks is best, which is rarely the one that's actually best, because automakers are cowards. They don't want to do what you should do with a CVT, which is when I put my foot down, pin that fucker at whatever RPM gives me the most torque. Pin it at 6.5 and hold it there. And yeah, the engine's going to sound like, it's going to sound like a fucking vacuum cleaner, but I'll go as fast as it is possible for that car to go.
Right up until the speed limiter makes you fall on your fucking face.
Yeah. I mean, I'm used to that because that's what the fuel cut in the FRS does.
Yeah.
I
Are
can,
you
I
talking
can,
about the red line fuel cut or?
yes, I can tell when I hit redline in that car because
Oh, dude, it literally, it's like being hit by a train. If fucking, because I've redlined mine on the highway. Just like you get up there, you're going. It's kind of putting you back in your seat, and all of a sudden you are in the windshield.
Oh, I've done that. I have done that autocrossing. It's great when you're focusing on trying to enter a slalom and then.
Hey, if you can time the red line to be right at the entry to the corner, it's great because it helps you slow down. But at the same time,
well, no, it unsettles the fuck out of the car because it throws everything forward.
Well, that is true. So you wanted to start redlining right at breaking point.
I have done that before, and it's amazing when you can pull that off. It's easier in the automatic because it's taller, taller. For the uninitiated, and I promise this will be the last tangent before we move on to the next article. Most cars, as I understand it, the way they do it at redline is they dial back the fuel and they retard the timing, so you kind of lose a little bit of power and then they bring it back, and that's why you get the bouncing off the limiter. In the FRS, it cuts the fuel and spark completely until you drop like 200 or 300 RPM. It cuts the engine dead when you hit redline. Most cars, when you hit redline, they kind of tug on your shoulder and go, all right, you really ought to upshift, come on. The FRS smacks you in the face and goes, fucker.
the FRS goes, bitch, we're going to have a problem. And I'm going to torture you for it.
It's wild
It's sitting there like your mother next to you. She's yelling at you the whole time. Go, 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 go. Shift. It just like hits you in the back of the head. It's bad.
It's awful and I love it. All right, moving on before we generate more tangents. The 2026 WRX. I was a little confused when I saw this article because I was like, surely it should be the 2027, but then I saw the date. It's today. Apparently Subaru doesn't advance their calendar as often as everyone else. So,
other article, they may have just fucking accidentally made this article or like the titled it wrong, because the other article that I originally sent you that was the paywall, and the reason I had to find this one was it said 2027.
Okay, so it might be.
So I'm gonna go off. They mistitled the article with the wrong year.
I mean, Subaru doesn't sell very many cars either way, so
that's fair.
So
they're about to start selling less because they're doing stupid shit.
Yeah, they're doing okay shit. The 2027 WRX. The big headline with this one is they brought back the base trim. So you can now have your not quite bare bones enough, but still kind of bare bones WRX, which I approve of. They took away the base trim for a while. The only ones you could get were the Premium and the TS, which is the not STI, rest in peace, STI. And they brought back the slightly trimmed down one. The only difference, they also made it a little bit better. It comes with 18-inch wheels, keyless access, which I don't want. Fine. The almost foot wide or foot diagonal iPad dash. Why, Subaru? Why? Come on. We don't want... No. I mean, at least it's not as bad as in most cars. And are those mechanical dials?
I don't know.
Are they keeping the mechanical dials? I believe those are mechanical gauges.
They look mechanical.
They're either mechanical gauges or a very good simulacrum, but in the diagonal shot, find it again, that kind of looks raised up from the rest. Subaru, a car company after my own heart. Actual, honest-to-God, electromechanical gauge cluster. Thank God.
I will say that's a pretty good looking interior, except for that iPad dash. I've never seen a company that has a fucking line of cars with this much racing heritage, especially off-road racing heritage, have something that basically just screams, never take this off-road. It's going to cost you a lot of money.
Well, and the interior is a little bit over-designed for my taste, but I've already seen it could be dramatically worse, so I'll give them a middling pass.
They have buttons instead of fucking everything being controlled from the touchscreen, though.
That is true. true.
Nice. Maybe those are just sport mode buttons on there, but still better than everything on the touchscreen.
I still love this.
I'm pretty sure the G80s, the BMWs, like all the sport modes and everything are on their fucking touchscreen or some shit.
Oh, I have plenty that I could say about that, but I won't. And of course, they've got the same... This is the other thing that I love about Subaru, is once they design something, they will hold on to it forever. They resist designing new stuff. These door handles, I think they've had for the past decade and a half. This gear, this handbrake, I think is the exact same as the one in my FRS.
Yeah.
If you look on the other side, the window switches are probably also the exact same ones that are in my FRS. Oh, Subaru. I respect a company that keeps the traditions alive, even if it's because they're too poor to make new ones.
Well, I'm gonna appreciate a company more if they're too poor to make new fucking everything every year.
That's true.
If I'm honest, like I fucking am so tired. Like I sound old, but I'm so tired of all this new shit that nobody gassed for.
Yeah.
Or cares about.
So the only differences are the Premium has heated front seats, which is good in the winter, I will admit. Rear USB ports, which is a gimmick. Heated exterior mirrors, which is a mildly useful gimmick. LED fog lights, which you can just install yourself. And a body-color trunk lid spoiler, which is probably the only thing that might tempt you to buy the Premium trim if you're interested in sport, taking this thing sporting. But
the premium trim of this car needed 50 to 100 more horsepower and some goodies.
It wasn't going to have... I mean, the premium trim is not going to have more power. It's going to have more creature comforts. It doesn't have that much more creature in the way of creature comforts, and to be honest, I don't even think it has $1,500 worth of creature comforts, which is what this car costs. The trunk lid is probably the major portion of the extra cost, and even then you can probably get a fiberglass one in the similar dimensions for like $800.
Probably.
So, this article's recommendation, with which I entirely concur, is don't get the premium trim. I mean, if you have, it's only $1,500. To be fair, if you have the money, you might as well go with the creature. But it's far from necessary, and you really aren't losing much by just going with the base trim. I mean, that's the trunk spoiler there. It generates... See if I can get a side view.
It's not even like a crazy spoiler. It's literally just a fucking duck extension.
Probably a couple inches. It makes no difference. Which, I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm a downer or disappointed by this. I like that they're coming out with base trim. I think the equation kind of shifts to where the premium trim is a nice optional extra, but again, like, you really aren't losing anything by just going with the base trim of it. So the base trim saves yourself some money.
Base manual starts at $33,690.
Yep.
With the premium manual being $35,190.
Yeah.
The limited goes up to 40, and then you start getting the stupid versions like the continuously variable. So you have two options. You have a manual, or you can get a CVT.
And the GT only has a CVT. I have no fucking clue why. It's got the same FA24. 271 horsepower is nice. 258 pound-feet of torque is nice. 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds. 14-second quarter mile at 101 miles an hour, which is, I would argue, respectable. There we go. Standard issue summer performance tires we've seen generate about 0.95 G of grip run or skid pad. Nobody cares, just run RZs.
Yep.
Why reviewers waste time talking about stock tires, I'd never understand, because if you really want, if that matters to you, you're going to be putting a set of RZs on it anyways, so put the RZs. This line kind of irks me. 271 horsepower isn't enough to blow anyone's doors off. 271 is fine.
It's an all-wheel drive car. The thing's gonna launch hard.
Yeah, and
does that fucking matter?
It's thoroughly adequate. Who cares that it doesn't have like 400 under the hood?
Yeah.
Is it a fun car?
This belief that we need minimum 300 horsepower for anything to be fun is just so fucking...
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the current culture, at least here in America, but it's also fucking retarded.
Yeah. They do note the brakes, good stopping power, reassuring pedal feel, but a lot of fade, it looks like. So you're gonna want to upgrade to .4 and maybe swap out the stock pads, but that's not super tricky to do.
Well, I mean, the first thing anybody's going to do before autocrossing or taking this thing anywhere is one, switch to .4, and two, switch put on a big brake kit.
I don't even think you need a big brake kit. I mean, it's a good add-on with the 1500 you're saving, but I don't really necessarily know if you need it. Especially
yeah, you probably don't need. You probably need better pads, but if you just switch to the big brake kit straight up, you're already adding.
Pads are probably cheaper though.
Value of the car,
and
pads will be much cheaper. But if you're using this thing for serious autocross or whatever, you want the stopping power.
Actually, I think most autocrossers keep brakes more or less stock because you're only
You know what I
going
mean.
60 miles an hour. In track use, maybe, but even then,
Okay. Yes, I misspoke. Now that I'm thinking about it, I misspoke. I did mean track use. But I don't it's another one of those things where these cars have just decided that they don't want to fucking follow the heritage that they grew up with, which was, hey, these cars have always been used for rallies. They're very good at them. What can we do? Let's put a bunch of electronics in it that break if we ever take it off road.
yeah. I mean, I don't mind. I like the WRX. It's a very nice, very fun car. It looks like it's the same very nice, very fun car, and now you can get it slightly cheaper.
Look, the new body style has finally started growing on me. I wasn't the biggest fan of these when they came out, but it's starting to grow on me. These could be very fun cars to drive.
Oh, they are. Oh, they're
They
fantastic.
need an STI variant with 330 horsepower or something. I think that would shut everybody up basically immediately.
Yeah, Subaru really does need to bring back STI because again, I think you're right.
Well, they have the Sport Vehicle Planning Office now, so STI is probably a pipe dream.
Sport Vehicle Planning Office. Stupid.
What a fucking name! That is the most communist name I've ever heard for a fucking.
I think. Yeah, now that you mention it does sound like a bureau in the Soviet Union. For oh, these Western capitalist pigs are doing this auto racing. We must beat them at that, type shit. I think you're right with 350 it'd be perfect for these, for a really souped up high performance trim of them.
I could see as low as 330 and it would still be higher than the max 310 during their production runs. For recent models.
Yeah, especially because they've been getting heavier and heavier, which I know it's.
They have. So minimum 330 would be good. 350 probably with the weight increases since the last time they offered true STI variants. 350 would probably be right there where it needs to be.
If you are planning on autocrossing these things or even tracking them, my honest and sincere advice: soften up the front as much as you can. If you can get away with it, take off the front sway bar. People that buy front strut tower braces for these cars are fucking delusional. They steer like fucking cruise ships, especially at low speeds. You really need to soften up that front and also camber the front, and you will have a much better time. People that do that, they can get these things to actually handle really, really well, although not as well as the wagons.
Yeah.
They need to bring back wagons. Nobody's going to bring back wagons. It's a pipe dream. But I was just struck dumb with the memory from this weekend of a dude who brought a legacy wagon, and that thing handled better than some of the Miatas, and I don't know why. I was standing next to a sweeper on my work assignments watching that thing glide through it at a decent pace. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's a wagon. How the hell? So you can make these things handle really well. I
think part of it's the heavier back end being the heavier back end is making the physics work a little bit better in the corners.
Which is
probably also took out the front sway bar and did a few other things to make it steer in better.
Which is why they need to bring back the hatchback of these.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
100%.
These cars need more weight in the back.
Well, I mean, there was that prototype or teaser that they released that had the hatchback at the Tokyo Auto Show, if you remember.
Yeah.
So there is hope that the next one, which should come out in a couple years, will be a hatchback. Moving on from something I have mixed to favorable opinions on to...
Yeah. Unlimited money, I would have one of these for sure.
Audi.
This is just beautiful.
Audi. All will be forgiven if you make something that looks like that. That is...
Well, or even something that's gonna get,
fucking
perform
sexy.
Like that. Everything Audi makes has twice the fucking width between the front and rear tires now that this does.
This is what cars should look like. Yes, it's boxy, but it's boxy with curves.
Claims a better power to weight ratio than a 1,000 horsepower Ferrari SF90.
Yeah, this is basically a road legal Group B car.
And it's resto mod, so it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, they take a Audi Coupe B2, they shorten it by a foot, and then stretch the wheelbase by a little bit, a little less than an inch, which actually makes it a little bit better than the original. An integral roll cage, and then they put carbon fiber paneling on it. This thing weighs a hair less than a stock 8.6 and has 600 goddamn horsepower.
So I'm gonna message you something. Here is the car they start with. There we go. That's what they start with.
Oh, that is nice looking. I mean, that's already a very nice looking car.
That's already a super cool, like, heritage looking coupe.
And then
shortening it by a foot really does change that thing's presence quite a bit.
Yes, but wow.
I know, this thing is nuts. And then you have the S2 right behind it, looking fucking beautiful on the drifter right there. The one behind it is the actual Group B monster.
I have seen people do replicas of those and they look fun as hell. It's got a 6-speed gearbox. It's got a rear biased all-wheel drive system. Oh, that sounds hot. 4060. This interior looks amazing.
It's stripped out race car. It's all Alcantara stripped out race car. It's actually perfect for what people are going to be using it for. Actually, it's perfect for what they want people to use it for. What it's actually going to be used for, because it's fucking $500,000, it's going to be put in people's collections and never driven.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Which is why in the notes I put in all caps, Audi build this for real, because they need to. I love the divot in the dash so that your co-driver has a place to put the pace notes when he's not using. Yeah.
What I will say is I think we've kind of hit a wall with designing new vehicles. I think what manufacturers need to do, and the Americans can start with this, is take all the plans for all the old cool cars that you used to make that sold really well and start making either limited runs of those again for people to buy. You could bring down prices a little bit on shit and then still have a lot of sales, because I'm sure a lot of people would like certain versions of cars.
Yes.
Like, make the cool trims of cars, but like start making old shit again. Start making shit where you don't need to do any designing, just fucking make it.
I'm with you on the price, the fact that they're only making 84 of them.
These are gonna end up, you're gonna see these at a car show once in a blue moon, depending on who gets them, and many of them are gonna end up in private collections that are never gonna be fucking public.
Yeah, I'm never going to see this running Mount Akimo, which
you're never gonna see this anywhere,
because and I can't even necessarily blame the owners of these cars for treating them like that, to be honest, because you can't blame
them, it just sucks.
If I had a 1 of 84, almost 600 grand purpose-built rally car, I really wouldn't do much with it, because it's not even necessarily the price, but the price is a factor in that. It's the rarity of it. The fact that there's only 84, and if you wreck it, you're not getting another one. Like,
you're not getting another one, and the parts will be almost impossible to replace.
Yeah, like a purpose-built rally car can cost in the realm of like the low 6 figures, $100,000 or so. But like, they build them all the time, and you can get parts for them, you can repair them, you can replace them if they get wrecked. These are not going to get rallied, and it's a shame because they should, but I don't blame anybody for not doing that. For making them display only. I will say I will have immense respect for anybody that does take one of these to the Mount Akimo hill climb, or to one of ARA's rallies or what have you, and actually races the damn thing, because you're taking an enormous risk with it. But then again, I don't think that there's anybody with like billions of dollars that does that shit.
Yeah, no. Anybody with billions of dollars also feels it's their necessity to feed their entire family, and anything that puts them at risk of a crash or injuring themselves for any amount of time is just off the menu. So this is going to end up in private collections, which is really sad because these are so fucking cool. But also, you wanted to rally these, the only way I think you could get away with rallying these is if they brought back a modified version of Group B today, unfortunately, because of the power to weight ratio and everything. These aren't built for rally purposes. They're built to show off what could be.
But I mean, the design is goddamn gorgeous.
That is the prettiest fucking rally car I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Audi, please. I will actually buy an Audi if you do this. This is how you get me to buy a German car. Take this, aluminum body paneling. Maybe it doesn't need the dry sump system. Maybe dial back in a couple places. 50, 60K for the, like, 350, 400 horsepower, like, race version. Low to mid 40s for like the executive sports car trim, and like mid 30s for the base model with like 200 horsepower.
Yeah.
Do that. Start making cars that look like this, because the boxy look with the modern twist is genuinely gorgeous. And
dude, we've had 4 or 5 articles of resto modded cars. Like we had the Delta S4, I think we were talking about a while back, that they were making resto mod versions.
Yeah.
These cars have been the prettiest things I've seen.
Yeah.
In years.
I mean, there's
the resto mod Deltas, awesome. Like, just make heritage. You can call it, that's what you should call them. You should come out with your old trims, like the most popular voted trim. Do a 4-year span where you just make that car as a heritage edition and sell them to anybody that wants them. But just make them again. You will boost sales by a crazy amount if you just make these fucking cars again. You can time limit them, but just make them.
The 4060 rear biased all-wheel drive is,
yeah.
I mean, I love everything about this car. I just dial it back so it's not like super expensive. Set your expectations at like you're gonna sell 12 to 1500 of the like top insane trim of these, maybe 3500 to 4000 of the executive saloons, and like 8 or 9000, maybe 10, maybe 20,000 or so of the, like the base models of these. Set your expectations reasonably there, and I will buy it if I ever have the money for it, and that comes out 100%. Because these are, it's gorgeous. Even if it weighed like 3,300 pounds and only had like 260 horsepower, it would still be fun as hell.
Here's the thing. Everybody wants older cars. Make them to the exact specs. And because you have the power of hindsight, you can now fix the issues that had recalls before they ever go out. So you don't have that problem anymore. You make them as they were, but you fix all the dumb shit that costed people a lot of money, and people will buy these up, and you will sell out every fucking time you do a version of them. Every time. Just pick the most popular cars, bring them back, fix all the dumb issues. You will fucking have money rolling in like crazy.
So I didn't notice this previously. It's got the 5-cylinder, which, if I remember correctly, is actually a decently it's probably the only Audi engine that doesn't sound like shit.
Yeah.
Is like the main reason I don't buy Audis is because they all sound fucking awful.
$570,822.
Man,
a lot of money.
I understand that you wanted to make
immediately
84. Could you not have made 840 of them and sold them at like 120?
Oh no, with all the shit they're having to do to these cars and roll caging them and putting the horsepower numbers, that would probably, this is the only way they could have done it. But if I had infinite money, I'd own the green one in that photo.
Yeah.
That green is just for me. The purple's pretty cool. The fucking orange right there and the red are good. And the red is like classic fucking
Marlboro red.
Yup. But that fucking lizard green-esque like lime green is so good.
My favorite has to be the orange. We could dwell on this all day. I mean, these are gorgeous cars, but unfortunately, we do have to move on to our last article. I'll move us along before we get completely caught up in the siren song.
Yep, and I think this next thing is really, really good for the car market as a whole. I think people need to start doing this. It would definitely change a lot, but I think in the end it'd be good.
So the short of it is Toyota's looking at the Japanese car industry which for its resurgence in the enthusiast space has been it's been doing kind of poorly, which is big part of why they've been pivoting so hard into the enthusiast space. They kind of got caught up like the rest of the car industry in the EV nonsense, and they put a lot of money into it, or they realized that it's actually not really a great investment. Toyota, the part of the reason why they are currently the top dog of the Japanese auto industry by a long shot, is because they were a little bit more conservative when the EV rush happened. And they didn't pour as much in, but they still poured in a lot, and now they're having to offload all the models that people don't like, that they're not selling, onto Subaru, who they have by the throat. Not happy about that one. But they're looking at the Japanese car industry, and they at least purport to have honest intentions here. I'm a little skeptical, but there's positives that come out of this either way. And
so this is being headed up by one person in Toyota. It's not Toyota as a whole, but they are following his lead because he is their chief industry officer. So the guy's name is Koji Sato.
Yep.
He's the chief industry officer for Toyota, and he's the one that's really kind of going at this pretty hard. And I could see this being a very good thing done right. I could also see it turning into a massive scandal if it turns into a
so he wants Japanese car manufacturers to start sharing a lot between them, sharing parts, sharing some manufacturing standards, so things like metal composition, etc., and as well like sharing a lot of technology, which is interesting.
The original article did say they wanted to stop fighting over nuts and bolts. If they can standardize at least the small shit that builds cars, that would still be huge.
Yeah, and I think
because it's so annoying that every manufacturer has its own list of fucking bolts that it uses. Like everything is different sizes between different manufacturers. That's just fucking annoying.
Yeah. And this article brings up something I was going to bring up as well, which is I think a big motivator behind this is they've had a lot of success in joint ventures with other companies. The Mark V Supra, Mark 6. Yep. Yeah, Mark V Supra, which is a fantastic car. They basically got the engine from BMW and built the rest of the car around it.
I think the engine and trans on that one.
The powertrain, and then they built the car around it. The 86 line, all those cars, I mean, wildly successful. People will poo-poo about the relatively small sales numbers, but I mean, in the circles I run in, they are the standard. So they were cooking with gas with those cars. Hugely successful joint venture. Even Subaru, it kind of helped start to pull Subaru out of a lot of their funk. And I think Toyota's looking at that and they're saying, if we share shit with other manufacturers, even if it's as significant as like sharing engines, which is a huge thing and something that it potentially could be kind of limiting in terms of competitive advantage, if they're still looking at it and going, yeah, we benefit more than we lose by sharing even like full of assemblies with our editors, and we can just, we can share out some of the pieces, we can look outside of our own company to source some things, and just focus on building, take the concept for the car and build the best car we can with it, even if that means we have to reach out to Subaru for the engine, or we have to reach out to Mazda for the suspension. Sharing is caring. We all build better cars together. And I think, and that's sort of the higher level of what they're proposing. The lower level is part standardization. Use the same nuts, bolts, springs, etc., which covers like that 50-60% of the car that doesn't really impact performance or sort of brand identity, but which is like something you really shouldn't necessarily have to develop internally. I think they're trying for he's trying for, I should say, as you corrected, a leaner, more efficient, more effective Japanese auto industry. I think that's a good idea.
And if this works out well, most of these companies could drop having to spend at least 40% of their current R&D budgets and then all join together and create something real crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if they expand this after a couple of years of going, wow, this is actually helping, and then all of Japan and all of those manufacturers come together and do like a combined R&D effort, can you imagine what would come out of that in 5 years' time?
Well, not even that. It gives them more resources and more leeway and more flexibility to focus on actual R&D and actual innovation and designing cars that are genuinely better. It also potentially gives them room for more instead of just selling mass market slop, developing and selling more niche cars that appeal to smaller audiences. The stuff that used to be Subaru's bread and butter, which benefits us as enthusiasts, because enthusiasts, as much as we are very loyal and very dedicated, also represent a, frankly, very small portion of the car market. And of course, there's the blatantly obvious benefit to enthusiasts, which is parts. Like, oh, sweet Jesus. Being able not just to, like, interchange parts between vehicles, being able to source parts from multiple locations, being guaranteed a significant supply of these parts, not to mention the aftermarket cross-compatibility. I mean, yeah, this sounds good. What I'm concerned about is that this could be leveraged to kind of force consolidation of the Japanese auto industry, nail it down to, like, 2, maybe 3 companies, and then all those benefits dry up because they can corner the market, and the cost savings to the consumer, the diversity of design available dries up. And that's really my only worry, is that
I can see that point, although I have a feeling that the way Japanese society works and the fact that it's based on, like, it's a very trust-based society, they already have a history of working together to make sure everybody stays good and safe and everything like that. And they've also been pretty good about correcting mistakes and apologizing and, like, owning up to them as a whole. In the past, I will say they, all the manufacturers came together in, like, the 90s and speed limited their car, or horsepower limited their cars to under 300 in the 90s to keep from getting. Yeah, it was around there.
Yeah.
They overbuilt the cars so you could do whatever you want with them afterward, but they were coming out in order so that the Japanese government wouldn't crack down on them because of, like, deaths and stuff on overpowered cars.
Yeah, the gentleman's agreement continues today.
So they have a history of working together to do, yeah, exactly. So they're pretty good about working together in a way that doesn't destroy everybody. I'd be more worried about what you were talking about just now if it was American companies doing this.
Yeah,
I think part standardization at least needs to come to American companies badly. I think it's ridiculous that there's 78 different bolt variations depending on the fucking manufacturer you go through.
Yeah.
But I think the world needs to probably part standardize at least nuts and bolts and shit like that.
So
for normal use, maybe not for specialized use.
It'll be a few years before this really starts coming into force, and probably a few more years after that before we really start seeing the benefits of that on the consumer side. But I mean, here's hoping. I'm a fan of the Japanese auto industry. I make no bones about that. So I'm happy to see them leaning up and being more competitive. I like my Japanese cars. All right, final thoughts?
I mean, I think this could be a very good thing. I think it's going to come down to the intention behind it and if they can keep themselves from being super greedy.
Yeah, well, I don't have anything further. So on that positive note, thank you all very much for watching. Have a great week.
Have a good one, everybody.